Have you ever looked into the eyes of an older woman, someone who's been married for decades, and seen something missing? Not age, not tiredness, but something deeper, a dimming, a withdrawal, a quiet ache that doesn't speak in words, but says so much, you might assume it's just old married couple stuff, but my modern and unstoppable seniors. It's not that simple, because beneath the surface of so many long-term marriages lies a silent shift, a slow, creeping disconnection that most people never talk about until it's too late. The truth is, many older women don't just fall out of love. They fall out of feeling seen, out of feeling valued, out of feeling like they matter to the person they once built a life with. It doesn't happen in one moment. It happens in 1,000 small ones. The times he didn't ask how her day was, the way she was left to handle the house, the kids, the emotions alone, the dinners filled with silence, the birthdays half forgotten, the conversations that used to go deep, now just shallow exchanges over what's for dinner. And as the years pass, something inside her shifts, not all at once, but slowly. The sparkle in her eye fades, her tone hardens, she sighs more, talks less, and resentment begins to root itself, not because she hates her husband, but because she misses being understood by him. She thinks, how did we go from holding hands to barely speaking? Why do I feel lonelier sitting next to him than I do when I'm alone? Did he stop loving me or just stop noticing me? And here's the heartbreaking part. Most men never see it coming. They wake up one morning and say, she's cold, she's distant, she's not the same. But what they don't realize is that the woman they married is still in there. She's just buried under years of unmet needs and quiet disappointments. So let me be clear, this video isn't about pointing fingers or blaming husbands. It's about recognizing a pattern that shows up again and again among aging couples, and especially in the hearts of aging women. It's about being brave enough to look at what went unsaid and compassionate enough to make it right. Because here's what we've seen in thousands of long-term marriages. Resentment rarely comes from big betrayals. It comes from small absences, not being cruel, but being distracted. Not yelling, but not listening. Not leaving, but not showing up. And when those absences stack up over the years, what you get is not just a distant wife, but a woman who has emotionally given up while still physically staying. But the good news is, it's not too late. That's why in this video, we'll uncover the 5 hidden reasons why women start resenting their husbands after 60, and more importantly, what you can do to reconnect, repair, and rekindle the bond, even after decades of quiet drift. Before we dive in, drop the first letter of your name in the comments below and add it's a simple way to bless your wellness journey and let us know you're here, walking this path with us in the Wellness for Modern Seniors community. And if something in this message speaks to your heart, go ahead and tap that like button. It blesses your journey and helps bring this message to other modern and unstoppable seniors who need it too. Ready to explore the first reason? Let's begin with the first and perhaps most common reason so many older women feel resentful after decades of marriage: emotional neglect. Not abuse, not betrayal, not loud fights or cold silences, but a slow, quiet forgetting of what makes her feel emotionally alive. Now let's be clear, most men don't intend to neglect their wives emotionally. They don't wake up and say, today, I'm going to ignore her feelings. In fact, many believe they're doing a good job providing, protecting, showing up physically. But what they often miss is presence. You see, in the early years of marriage, couples talk about everything. They check in, they laugh together, they share dreams. But somewhere along the way, between jobs, kids, bills, routine, something changes. He shifts into what I call maintenance mode. He still loves her, sure, but he stops being curious, stops asking how she really feels, stops noticing when she seems off. He assumes that silence means everything's okay. And year after year, she gets quieter. 2. Not because she's fine, but because she's tired of talking to someone who's not really listening. Here's the part most men don't realize. Emotional neglect isn't loud. It doesn't come with tears or ultimatums. It comes with withdrawal. She stops sharing her stories. She stops expecting him to notice. And in time, her emotional tank runs dry. Why does this hit so hard after 60? Because that's when the distractions disappear. The kids move out. The job ends. The house grows quiet. And now there's space. Space to reflect, to feel, to ask questions like, have I been emotionally alone this whole time? Does he even know who I've become? When was the last time he asked how I was and truly waited for the answer? And when a woman starts asking those questions, it shakes her to her core. I once sat with a woman named Janet. She was 74 years old and had been married for nearly 50 years. She looked me in the eye and said, "He's a good man. He never cheated, never yelled, never left. But I don't think he's asked me how I feel since 1991. I don't think he's really seen me in over 30 years. That's emotional neglect. It's not about being bad. It's about being absent in the moments that matter most. And when those moments are missed year after year, it becomes very hard to believe your partner truly cares. Because love is not just shown in anniversaries and vacations. It's shown in the way someone asks how your heart is doing on an ordinary Tuesday. But here's the beautiful truth. My modern and unstoppable seniors, emotional neglect is reversible. It starts with awareness. It continues with intention. And it blossoms when we return to the simplest, most powerful action in any relationship. Being emotionally present. Ask how she's feeling and mean it. Listen, not to fix, but to understand. Notice when she's off and don't ignore it. Remind her in small ways that she matters. Because when a woman finally says, "You haven't seen me in years," that's not criticism. That's a last attempt at connection. And when you choose to lean in instead of brushing it off, that moment can become the beginning of healing, of reconnection, of returning to each other. Not as strangers in the same home, but as partners. In the same story. My modern and unstoppable seniors, let's talk about a truth that too often gets swept under the rug. It's not dramatic. It doesn't make headlines. But it quietly poisons the foundation of many long-term marriages. It's this. She carried more than her share. And it never really stopped. In the early years, especially in marriages that began in the 1960s, 70s, and even 80s, there was often an unspoken agreement. He worked outside the home. She did everything else. That meant raising the kids, doing the laundry, cooking the meals, paying the bills, managing appointments, remembering birthdays, organizing holidays, helping with aging parents, and taking emotional responsibility for everyone's well-being. And even when she took on a job of her own, guess what? The division of labor at home rarely shifted. She just did both. Why? Because she was told, "You're just better at multitasking. You're more nurturing. You're stronger." But strength doesn't mean she wasn't tired. And being capable doesn't mean she wanted to carry it alone. What happens after 30, even 50 years of this unbalanced load? She doesn't just get tired. She gets tired of being tired. Alone. And that's where resentment begins, not with anger, but with exhaustion. Let me share a story. I once met a woman named Priya, 67 years old. She looked at me with soft eyes and said, "I don't resent my husband because he's cruel. I resent him because I was always expected to be the strong one. Every time the kids got sick, I handled it. Every time a parent passed away, I made the calls. Every time life got messy, I cleaned it up. And no one ever asked me if I was okay." That's not a complaint. That's the voice of someone who's been invisible in her own life for too long. Here's something that might sting, but it's important to hear. If a man says he helps out around the house, That's part of the problem. Because you don't help out with something that's equally yours. You share it. You co-own it. And many women, especially in long-term marriages, never truly felt that sense of partnership. So what does that build over time? Every unwashed dish becomes a reminder of the imbalance. Every forgotten birthday becomes proof she's doing life alone. Every "what's for dinner" becomes a symbol that he still expects her to carry the emotional and physical load without being asked, thanked, or supported. And then comes retirement. The kids are gone, the work slows down. Life finally gets quieter, and she begins to reflect, not just on the past few years, but on the past decades. That's when she realizes, I've been surviving, not thriving. I've been doing everything, and no one noticed. I've been strong, but I never felt supported. And that realization doesn't spark a loud fight. It creates a quiet disconnection that looks like sarcasm, eye rolls, stone walls, or silence. Now, here's the part that offers hope. Most men don't realize this is happening until it's named. It's not always selfishness, it's habit. It's generational roles. It's a lifetime of being told, well, she just does those things better. But recognition is the first step toward change. It doesn't take grand gestures. Just start with this. I see how much you've done, and I'm sorry I didn't say it more. I want to do better now. Because in the end, most women don't want perfection. They want presence. They want a partner who notices, appreciates, and shares the load, especially in the later years when connection matters most. My modern and unstoppable seniors, have you ever sat across the table from someone you love and felt completely alone? That's the painful reality for many couples after decades of marriage. The slow disappearance of meaningful conversation. When a couple is young, words flow freely. Dreams, worries, jokes, plans. The conversation builds connection. But over time, those deep talks get replaced by routine chatter or silence. Why does this happen? Because life gets busy, sure, but also because emotional exhaustion and unmet needs create a barrier. The very act of opening up becomes risky, because the responses are often absent or dismissive. After 60, this silence feels heavier. It's no longer just a quiet evening. It's loneliness right next to someone who used to be your best friend. A woman might hope for more. A walk to talk, a shared laugh, and "I'm here" that means more than words. She longs for eye contact that says, "You still matter." But often, what she gets instead is grunts instead of questions, TV background noise instead of attention, one-word answers instead of heartfelt responses. This kind of emotional disconnection doesn't just hurt, it feels like a quiet betrayal. I once spoke with Alice, a 73-year-old woman who said, "When we first married, he asked how I was every day. Now I could cry in front of him and he wouldn't even look up. I don't want grand gestures. I just want to feel like I still matter." That's the heart of the problem. It's not about huge romantic acts. It's about the small, consistent signals that say, "You are important to me." And when those signals stop, the silence grows. The loneliness fills the space between two people who share a home, but not their hearts. But here's something hopeful. This silence can be broken. It starts with curiosity, with simple questions, with a willingness to listen without fixing or judging. If you're a husband, try this. Ask her how she's really feeling today, and then really listen. If you're a wife, invite him to share, gently, without blame. Because reconnecting doesn't mean changing the past. It means choosing, today, to meet each other in the present, to find the conversation again, to build bridges over years of quiet drift. My modern and unstoppable seniors, after decades of silent struggles and quiet distance, there is hope. Reconnection is possible. Healing can begin. And love, yes, love can be rediscovered, even after 60. The path back doesn't require grand gestures or dramatic changes. It starts with simple, powerful steps rooted in presence, care, and understanding. Step 1. Notice the small things again. See her smile. Remember the little details she shares. Ask questions not just to fill silence, but to truly listen. Step 2. Create safe spaces for honest conversations. It's okay to say, "I don't know how to say this, but I want to understand you better." Encourage openness without judgment. Because when a woman feels safe to speak her heart, walls begin to fall. Step 3. Share the load, emotionally and practically. Show up, not just as a husband, but as a partner. Help with the everyday tasks, not as a favor, but as a shared responsibility. And acknowledge all she's carried over the years. Step 4. Celebrate connection, not perfection. It's not about having a flawless marriage. It's about showing up consistently, with kindness and patience. It's the small moments, a hand held, a genuine compliment, a shared laugh that rebuild love's foundation. Step 5. Keep the commitment alive. Remember why you chose each other. Remind each other of the journey you've walked together. And decide every day to keep walking, hand in hand. When women feel seen, heard, and valued again, resentment fades. It's replaced by gratitude, warmth, and the quiet joy of companionship. So my modern and unstoppable seniors, if this message touches your heart, here's what I invite you to do. Give this video a like. It's a small act that blesses this community and helps bring wellness to more seniors just like you. Drop the first letter of your name in the comments below with a heart emoji to bless your wellness journey and connect with others walking this path. And if you haven't already, subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a care tip tailored just for you, because your wellness and your relationships matter deeply. Thank you for being part of Wellness for Modern Seniors. Remember, it's never too late to heal, reconnect, and thrive.